Very good. Excellent music. Pouring myself a drink. This is an experiment that turned out okay. But this is what happened. I happened to have some beef, inexpensive beef, and I have some oxtail seasoning, and I decide to experiment, to be creative. I think cooking can be an art form, especially when you're not afraid to experiment. Anyway, here I have this inexpensive beef that was there, so I added salt and pepper to it. And of course, I thought to myself, how can I make something different than the norm? So, the first thing I did was to brown the beef. Then of course, my next thought is, what should I add to this to make it interesting? So, I resorted to some old ideas. You know that I like onions. So I did use onions, and I thought, what else could I add to this onion? So, I didn't want to make it really over the top, so I added the onions, I added some thyme, and that was about it. It wasn't long before I said, you know what, I mean, come on. If we're going to cook something, make it good. So I added some scallion, green onions to it. And later on, of course, I said, wait a minute, I can do more than that. So I added some potatoes to it. What am I cooking? I really don't know. I'm just throwing things together and say, hey, I've got the beef, I've got the onions, I've got the scallion. It's all in there. And I decided, oh, what the heck. So, just about this time, right about now, I decided, you know, everything is boiling and doing well. I said, okay, let's add the oxtail now. I added about 2 tablespoonfuls of oxtail to this. And then I kept adjusting. I kept tasting later on. I kept adjusting. But I wasn't finished, not by a long shot. I decided to add some dumplings to my, shall we call it, stew. Then I put the lid on for about 10 minutes. After that, I opened the lid. I stirred everything around like that. Put the lid back on and decided that I'm going to let it simmer for 2 hours. I know, I said oxtail, I meant oxtail seasoning. Well, it didn't turn out too bad, really.